Welcome to the dark underbelly of 1920s Chicago, a city gripped by violence, corruption, and the iron fist of Prohibition. During this tumultuous era, the streets ran red with blood as rival gangs fought for control of the lucrative bootlegging operations. At the heart of this brutal conflict were two infamous figures: Al Capone, the ruthless kingpin of the Chicago outfit, and George "Bugs" Moran, the fierce leader of the North Side Gang. Their bitter rivalry fueled a deadly game of cat and mouse, with each side seeking to outmaneuver and eliminate the other. But on a cold February morning in 1929, this gangland feud reached its bloody climax in an event that would forever be etched into the annals of crime history. 7 men were gunned down in broad daylight in what would become known as the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. The killers, disguised as police officers, left no trace, and to this day, their true identities remain shrouded in mystery. Join us as we delve into the unsolved enigma of the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, exploring the clues, the theories, and the chilling legacy of one of America's most notorious crimes. As the smoke cleared from the bloody streets of Chicago, 2 names stood out in the city's criminal underworld: Al Capone and George "Bugs" Moran. But how did these men rise to such infamy, and why were they destined to clash in such a violent feud? Al Capone, a Brooklyn native, carved his path through sheer brutality and cunning strategy. He swiftly climbed the ranks of the criminal hierarchy, taking over the Chicago outfit from his mentor, Johnny Torrio. Capone's reign was marked by his ruthless elimination of rivals and his iron grip on the city's bootlegging operations during Prohibition. His power was unmatched, his influence extending deep into the political and law enforcement spheres of Chicago. On the other side of the city, George "Bugs" Moran emerged as a formidable adversary. Born Adelard Cunin, Moran's criminal career began with petty thefts and escalated to armed robbery and murder. He eventually took the helm of the North Side Gang after the assassination of his predecessor, Dean O'Banion. Moran was known for his fearless and relentless nature, always ready to retaliate against any threat to his territory and operations. The stage was set for an inevitable confrontation. As Capone's empire grew, so did the tension between him and Moran. Their violent feud was fueled by a series of brutal attacks and retaliations, each more daring and bloody than the last. The stakes were high, and neither man was willing to back down. The escalating tension reached its boiling point, culminating in a deadly showdown that Chicago would never forget. The St. Valentine's Day Massacre was not just an isolated incident, but the result of years of animosity and power struggles between these 2 titans of crime. As we move forward, we'll uncover the chilling details of that fateful day and the enduring mystery that surrounds it. Stay with us as we delve deeper into the unsolved enigma of the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, piecing together the clues and theories that continue to baffle historians and crime enthusiasts alike. February 14th, 1929. A day that would forever mark the annals of Chicago's dark history. The city awoke to a chilling scene that would leave an indelible scar on its collective memory. In a quiet North Side garage, a trap was set, meticulously planned and executed with ruthless precision. The killers arrived in the early morning, dressed in police uniforms. Their disguise was flawless, a calculated move to lower the guards of their unsuspecting victims. Inside the garage, 7 members of George "Bugs" Moran's North Side Gang were gathered, unaware of the deadly fate that awaited them. The supposed officers stormed in, weapons drawn, and ordered the men to line up against the wall. The gang members complied, believing they were simply being arrested. But the true horror was yet to come. Without warning, the false officers opened fire. The sound of gunshots echoed through the garage, a symphony of death that lasted mere seconds, but felt like an eternity. The men were gunned down in cold blood, their bodies collapsing to the floor in a bloody heap. The brutality of the massacre was staggering. Each man was riddled with bullets, the precision of the killings leaving no doubt that this was the work of professionals. the city was plunged into shock and horror as news of the massacre spread. Chicagoans were used to gang violence, but this was something else entirely. A calculated, cold-blooded execution that defied comprehension. The massacre was a stark reminder of the ferocity of the gang wars and the lengths to which these criminals would go to maintain their power. The shockwaves reverberated through the city, leaving a legacy of fear and uncertainty that would haunt Chicago for years to come. As we delve deeper into this dark chapter, we continue to unravel the mystery and intrigue surrounding the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. Who were the masterminds behind this ruthless act? And how did they escape justice? The answers remain elusive, but the quest for truth continues. Stay with us as we explore the chilling aftermath and the enduring enigma of one of the most infamous events in the history of organized crime. As the dust settled and the bodies were discovered, the crime scene became a focal point for one of the first major forensic investigations in American history. The Northside Garage, now a scene of unimaginable horror, was meticulously examined by the police, who were determined to piece together the events of that fateful morning. In 1929, forensic science was still in its infancy, but the investigators were relentless. They began with ballistic analysis, a relatively new technique at the time. The bullets recovered from the scene were carefully compared, revealing that 2 Thompson submachine guns had been used in the massacre. This breakthrough was significant. It identified the type of weapons but still left the question of who wielded them. The crime scene itself was scoured for any clues that could point to the killers. Shell casings, blood splatters, and the precise arrangement of the bodies provided a chilling narrative of the execution-style killings. The investigators also noted the killer's escape route, which seemed to have been meticulously planned, leaving no trace behind. Despite the detailed forensic work, the mystery only deepened. The lack of witnesses and the killer's flawless police disguises made it nearly impossible to identify the culprits. Every clue seemed to lead to a dead end, and the investigators were left with more questions than answers. As we continue to explore this dark chapter in Chicago's history, we are reminded of the limitations and challenges faced by early forensic investigators. Their work laid the groundwork for modern forensic science, but the St. Valentine's Day Massacre remains an enduring enigma. Join us as we delve further into the unsolved mystery of this infamous crime, seeking answers that have eluded us for nearly a century. As the investigation unfolded, speculation ran rampant about who orchestrated the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. The most prominent theory points to Al Capone, the notorious crime boss who ruled Chicago's underworld with an iron fist. Capone had the motive to eliminate his rival, George "Bugs" Moran, and seize control of the city's lucrative bootlegging operations. Interestingly, Moran himself narrowly escaped the massacre. On that fateful morning, he was running late and missed the deadly encounter by mere minutes. This near miss only fueled suspicions that the massacre was a targeted hit meant for him. But was Capone really the mastermind? Some believe that the massacre was orchestrated by Capone's hitmen, known for their ruthless efficiency. Others suggest the involvement of corrupt police officers, adding another layer of complexity to the case. There are even theories that implicate other gangsters within the Chicago underworld, who may have seen an opportunity to settle old scores or gain favor with Capone. Alternative theories also abound. Some speculate that the massacre was a botched robbery attempt, or perhaps a setup by Moran's own men to discredit Capone. Each theory adds a new dimension to the mystery, making it even more challenging to unravel the truth. As we sift through the theories and suspects, one thing becomes clear. The St. Valentine's Day Massacre was a meticulously planned operation, executed with chilling precision. But who was truly behind it? The answer remains elusive, leaving us with more questions than answers. Join us as we continue to delve into the unsolved mystery, exploring the dark and twisted world of Chicago's gang wars. The truth may be hidden in the shadows, but the quest for answers continues. Despite the massive manhunt that followed the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, no one was ever convicted for the heinous crime. How could such a brutal act of violence go unpunished? The answer lies in the complex web of corruption, fear, and inefficiency that plagued Chicago's law enforcement at the time. In the aftermath of the massacre, police were under immense pressure to bring the perpetrators to justice. Yet, the investigation was marred by several key failures. Witnesses were either too terrified to come forward, or were themselves embroiled in criminal activities, making their testimonies unreliable. Furthermore, the scene of the crime was contaminated by curious onlookers, and vital evidence was lost or mishandled. Corruption within the police force further hampered the investigation. It was an open secret that many officers were on the payroll of various gangsters, including Al Capone. With loyalties divided, the pursuit of justice was often compromised, allowing the true culprits to slip through the cracks. Even when suspects were identified, securing a conviction proved to be an insurmountable challenge. The gangs operated with military-like precision, leaving little traceable evidence behind. Alibis were meticulously crafted, and any potential informants were swiftly dealt with, either through intimidation or elimination. The enduring mystery of the St. Valentine's Day Massacre is a stark reminder of the power and influence wielded by organized crime in early 20th century Chicago. Despite the passage of time, the case remains shrouded in uncertainty, with many questions still unanswered. Why was no one convicted? The answer is a chilling testament to the era's rampant corruption and the formidable power of the criminal underworld. It's a dark chapter in history that continues to fascinate and bewilder, proving once again that sometimes truth is stranger than fiction. Join us next as we delve deeper into this unsolved mystery, exploring the lingering questions and the shadowy figures that continue to loom over the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. The St. Valentine's Day Massacre didn't just mark a turning point in Chicago's gang wars. It sent shockwaves through the entire criminal underworld. This brutal event solidified Al Capone's control over Chicago, eliminating key rivals and instilling fear in anyone who dared oppose him. In the wake of the massacre, Capone's power grew exponentially, cementing his status as the most notorious gangster of his time. But the massacre did more than just reshape the criminal landscape. It dramatically altered public perception of organized crime. The sheer audacity and brutality of the killings captured the nation's attention, exposing the dark reality of mob violence. The public outcry was immediate and intense, demanding action against the rampant lawlessness. This growing pressure spurred the government into action. Law enforcement agencies, previously hampered by corruption and inefficiency, began to mount a more concerted effort to combat organized crime. The massacre served as a catalyst for the eventual crackdown on mob activity, leading to significant changes in law enforcement tactics and the legal framework. The legacy of the St. Valentine's Day Massacre extends beyond the realm of crime and law enforcement. It has permeated popular culture, inspiring countless films, books, and documentaries. The fascination with this dark chapter in history endures, captivating true crime fans and historians alike. The massacre's blend of mystery, violence, and historical significance continues to intrigue and horrify, ensuring its place in the annals of American crime history. Join us next as we unravel the enduring mystery of the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, a tale that remains as compelling today as it was nearly a century ago. As we come to the end of our journey through the bloody history of the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, one question remains. Why does this nearly century-old crime still haunt us? The massacre's brutality, its audacity, and its unresolved nature continue to captivate and disturb. The mystery of who orchestrated this gruesome act keeps historians, true crime enthusiasts, and the public endlessly speculating. Why were the killers never brought to justice? Were they truly members of Al Capone's gang, as many believe, or were there darker, more hidden forces at play? The unanswered questions linger, casting a long shadow over history. This unsolved crime serves as a stark reminder of the corruption and chaos that once ruled the streets of Chicago. It challenges us to consider how far we've come in the fight against organized crime and how much further we still have to go. And now, we turn to you, our viewers. What do you think really happened on that fateful day in 1929? Who were the real killers? Will we ever uncover the truth? Share your thoughts and theories in the comments below, because sometimes the search for answers is what keeps history alive. Join us next time as we continue to explore the mysteries that shape our world. Until then, stay curious and keep questioning.